At 96 years old, Eleanor had seen nearly a century of love, loss, and everything in between. When her granddaughter asked her, "What's the most important lesson about relationships?" Eleanor simply smiled. "Love," she explained, "isn't about grand gestures or perfect endings. It's about change. The mistake most people make is expecting love to stay the same. But love at 20 is different from love at 40, and love at 80 is something else entirely. It's not about passion, it's about presence. It's about companionship, patience, and the quiet moments that mean everything." With decades of wisdom in her heart, Eleanor shared a truth that would change her granddaughter's perspective on love forever. The old wooden rocking chair creaked softly as Eleanor settled into it, the warmth of the afternoon sun streaming through the lace curtains of her cozy living room. At 96 years old, she had seen nearly a century of life wars, heartbreak, love, loss, and everything in between. Her hands, wrinkled with time, held a delicate porcelain teacup, a quiet reflection of the life she had built, lost, and rebuilt again. Her granddaughter, Anna, sat across from her, notebook in hand, eyes filled with curiosity. She had asked Eleanor one simple question: "What is the most important lesson you've learned about love and relationships in later life?" Eleanor chuckled softly, setting her teacup down on the small wooden table beside her. "Oh, my dear," she began, her voice warm yet full of quiet wisdom. "Love at my age is not the kind of love you read about in books or see in movies. It's not about grand gestures or whirlwind romances. It's about understanding that love changes, and if you don't change with it, you'll lose it." Anna leaned in, eager to hear more. She had just gone through a painful breakup and felt lost in the world of modern relationships. If anyone could guide her, it was her grandmother. Eleanor sighed, glancing at the framed black and white photo on the mantel, a picture of her and her late husband Henry, on their wedding day. "I was just 20 when I married him," she said, a nostalgic smile touching her lips. "We were young, foolish, and deeply in love. But love at 20 is different from love at 40, and love at 40 is different from love at 80. The mistake most people make is believing love should always feel the same. It won't. It shouldn't." Anna furrowed her brows. "So how do you keep love alive when it changes?" Eleanor laughed, her eyes twinkling. "Patience, my dear. And understanding. People grow, and you have to let them. The Henry I married wasn't the same man I celebrated our 50th anniversary with. He changed, just as I did. We had to learn to love the new versions of each other." She paused, letting the words sink in. Then, after a thoughtful moment, she continued, "But you know what else? Sometimes, love is about letting go. I lost Henry 20 years ago. I thought my heart would never heal. But I realized something: love doesn't die when the person does. It just shifts. It turns into memories, into quiet moments when you hear their voice in your mind, or feel their presence in the smell of an old sweater." Anna swallowed hard, touched by her grandmother's words. "Did you ever love again?" Eleanor smiled softly. "Yes, but differently. At 78, I met Charles. He was a widower, just like me. We weren't young, and we didn't have the kind of love that sweeps you off your feet. But we had companionship, and at our age, companionship is love." Anna's eyes widened. "So love in later life isn't just about romance?" Eleanor shook her head. "No, my dear. It's about having someone to sit with in silence, without feeling alone. It's about knowing someone is there, even if words aren't spoken. It's about trust, patience, and understanding that love doesn't always mean passion, it means presence." She took a sip of her now lukewarm tea before continuing. "Do you want to know the biggest mistake people make in relationships?" Anna nodded eagerly. "They think love is about finding the right person, but it's not. It's about being the right person. Love isn't something you take, it's something you give. When Henry and I fought, and oh, did we fight! It wasn't because we didn't love each other. It was because we forgot to love each other selflessly. Anna's expression turned thoughtful. So, love isn't about what you get, but what you give. Exactly. Eleanor's eyes softened. At 96, I've learned that the happiest relationships aren't perfect. They're simply made up of two people who choose to keep trying, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it's painful. She reached for Anna's hand and squeezed it gently. Love at my age means appreciating the small things: morning coffee together, a shared smile across the dinner table, the comfort of knowing someone's beside you when you wake up in the middle of the night. Love, my dear, is in the ordinary. That's what makes it extraordinary. Anna felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. I wish I had known this sooner. Eleanor chuckled. That's the thing about love. You don't truly understand it until you've lived it. A comfortable silence settled between them, the weight of nearly a century of wisdom hanging in the air. Anna glanced at her grandmother, feeling a newfound sense of clarity. "Grandma," she said softly, "if you could go back and tell your younger self one thing about love, what would it be?" Eleanor's eyes twinkled with the kind of knowing that only comes with age. "I'd tell her to stop looking for fireworks and start looking for warmth. Fireworks fade, but warmth, that lasts a lifetime." She leaned back in her chair, her frail hands wrapped around a cup of tea, and sighed softly. "When I was young, I thought love had to be exciting all the time. I wanted passion, grand gestures, a love that swept me off my feet. And for a while, I had that. But you know what? Passion burns out. It's easy to be in love when everything is thrilling, when every touch sends shivers down your spine. But real love, the kind that lasts through decades, through heartbreak, through wrinkles and bad days, comes down to something much simpler." She took a slow sip of her tea before continuing. "Love is about showing up. Every single day. It's about the way they remember how you like your coffee, the way they hold your hand without thinking about it, the way they stay even when things aren't perfect." She glanced at her granddaughter, a knowing smile on her lips. People chase passion, but they forget to build partnership. And in the end, it's not the grand love stories that last, it's the quiet, steady ones. Her granddaughter sat in silence, absorbing every word. Eleanor reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. "So when you look for love, don't ask yourself if they make your heart race. Ask yourself if they make you feel safe. Because, darling, safety is the foundation of a love that will stand the test of time." Anna let the words settle in her heart. And for the first time in a long time, she understood what love truly meant.